things up. We tried this morning at 1 o'clock. Cox Wi-Fi said, "Hell no, buddy. We ain't letting you up there. We ain't letting you have it. We have to do it on the mobile. Can't do it on the laptop." It is what it is. Show must go on, man. Got to call the audible at the line. Kill, kill, kill. Can. Come on, G. How you feeling, bro?
Man, I think we at our best, man, when we improvising, doing things on the
That's it.
fly.
Come on.
Critical, we
That's it.
critical thinkers.
You can't hold us down, bro. Got a lot of news to break down today. Started off this morning with a bomb, a G bomb, boom. Shook the internet this morning, dog. Richard Anderson, pen to the paper for LSU. Had a couple of people worried. I mean, there's a lot of rumblings on Twitter throughout the last night. We'll break them down. Obviously, waiting on a decision from our guy Lamar Brown. Do you have an update on that and this whole situation going on in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, as it pertains to Lamar Brown, the U High athlete, offensive line slash defensive lineman, although he will be playing defensive line in college, he won't be signing a D. They're a long way away from figuring that out. A lot of people I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying he's not signing because of his NIL ain't enough money, and he's trying to get paid, he's trying to break the bank, and he's trying to use this as leverage, things of that nature. This has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with NIL or money. Lamar Brown had some really had some concerns about who the D line coach gonna be, right? And that's fair. That's fair. When he met with Lane Kiffin, him and his representation, that was one of the first questions they asked: who will the D line coach be? And from what I was told, um, Lane Kiffin said we're gonna get one of the best D line coaches in the country, right? But that's not answering his question, right? Lamar wants to know who is the guy gonna be who the guy in my room, who's gonna be the guy in my room coaching me for the next 3 to 4 years.
Yep.
Understandable, right? He's built that relationship with Kyle Williams, right? It sounds like Kyle Williams won't be the D line coach. I'm not. That's just what it sounds like. Not from what I heard, from sources in the building that Lane Kiffin has offered the D line coaching job to Elijah Robinson, who's the D line coach at Syracuse. That coach he coached at Texas A&M previously before Syracuse. So Elijah Robinson hasn't accepted the job from what I'm told, but he is the person that Lane Kiffin is going after. I don't think that was communicated to Lamar Brown for whatever reason, but that's playing a big factor. The next factor, Blake Baker. Will he be the DC? Well, we all know he interviewed for the Tulane job the other day, right? And Blake is trying to figure that part out. I know he's torn between staying at LSU and taking the Tulane job, which is his alma mater. So that's fair for Lamar Brown. Who will Blake be here? We don't know. We don't know, right? And so for everybody that continues to chime in about this is about NIL, as a matter of fact, the NIL package Lamar Brown got from Lane Kiffin and the new staff is more than he was going to get when Austin Thomas and Brian Kelly was in Baton Rouge. So it ain't about the money, right? If it was
Which
about
is
the money,
interesting.
yeah, if it was about the money, Lamar Brown would have went to Miami. He'd have went to Florida. He'd have went to Texas or Texas A&M. It ain't about the bread. This guy clearly wants to know who the D line coach is going to be, what the scheme going to be, and will Blake Baker be my DC? And I think that's fair. And he wants answers. And so until he gets answers, he's not signing on the dotted line. And that's just what that's going to be. And Lane Kiffin has communicated to him and his representation that he going to kind of slow play this on the high is and who he's keeping and things of that nature. Last thing, will Frank Wilson be on the staff?
Big
That
question.
that's something Lamar wanted to know because he built a relationship with him as well, right? And Lane said kind of some things that made him read in between the lines. Well, will Frank be on the staff? Will he not? It kind of sounds like it's up in the air if he's gonna be on the staff. And so all of those things has played a factor into why Lamar Brown has not signed on the dotted line today. And I think that once they figure out who the D line coach is gonna be, if Blake Baker is gonna take the Tulane job, if he's gonna stay, right? If Frank Wilson is gonna be on that staff or not, right? I think then we'll have a clear indication on what Lamar Brown is going to do. But until then, I think it's going to be a waiting game.
And you can't blame them, dog. Like, have you ever gone to a job interview, heard half of the pitch, and then just like, nah, I'm good, I'm signing, I'm good, give me the contract. No, everybody want to know my roles, responsibilities, who I'm working with, when I'm working, how much I'm getting paid. That's all a big factor. Now, are each individual factor is going to be more important than the other? Of course. And the coaching one, I'm gonna use logic from my guy, Coach Butler at Ellender. Shout out Splut Deezy, man. He said when you are going to college, it ain't a 4-year decision. G, it's a 40-year decision. This is going to set the foundation of your life. You're a young adult, you're going there, you're obviously gonna get an education, you're gonna get a lot of money. Yeah, 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 that's fine and dandy. But who's gonna develop you? Who's going to be around you? Who's going to be pushing you, trying to transform you into a better athlete? So, I mean, for Lamar Brown to do his due diligence, I'm going to go out and say it kind of shows, like you were saying earlier in the season, the type of head he's got on his shoulders. He's going
For
to look
sure.
at all his decisions. He's not
And
just going to
and
blindly
the
go
top
into something.
and the type of people he has around him.
A lot of people, G, they're going to be like, "Hey, what's the offer?" Nah, you got the number one NIL package. That, and a lot of people are thinking that that's a rumor or that's a big deciding factor for him. But no, I'm glad we were able to dispel that. Then
Yeah,
I want to talk about the Frank Wilson thing in depth a little bit because I saw it
yeah,
on Twitter. We kind of talked
yeah.
about it a little bit, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this kind of reminds me when Brian Kelly arrived, had to put his little spin on the staff. He kind of got a couple of Louisiana people out the room, and he brought him back. I just don't want Lane Kiffin to have that moment where he's going to walk back these decisions because it just seems like a no-brainer for someone like Corey Raymond or Frank Wilson to be retained. Now, look, in Blake Baker's regard, I'm not trying to say that he shouldn't be. That would be the one I would understand the most because he has the most room to grow in terms of going to a new job. I think Garland Gillen put on Twitter today that Blake Baker interviewed with Memphis as well. So it's like those type of things are making me wonder. Blake and his future might be more uncertain than a guy like Frank or Corey, who I feel like are the non-negotiables in this. If anybody's not retained, I'd imagine it would be Blake, but only because of he's at that point now where he could be a head coach. I mean, dog, before Lane even got hired, before Brian even got fired, we were talking about Blake Baker's name getting hot in the defense,
Yeah.
being one of the top defenses and all the attention he was getting. The Tulane job kind of seems like the best fit just because of alma mater standpoint, but what do you think about that in terms of like Lane Kiffin and the fact that it's not like it's a horrible first decision, but it might be a first decision that gets scrutiny down the road if the recruiting doesn't follow, if the coaching doesn't follow. Because Brian Kelly fell down this same exact path, bro. Like I remember it clearly.
And I know fans don't understand this side of the business, right? When you coming in and you taking over a program or taking over a business, right? I think more people can relate to that. If you're taking over a business, if you're taking over any type of entity, right? And things have not went well. Business did not go good. You wasn't generating revenue. You had people leaving your business. I mean, things just ain't going in the right direction. When you come in, right, your first mind is to do what? Clean house.
Yep.
Clean house, right? Yeah, you might have somebody that was in that was a part of that business for 8, 10 plus years that understands what goes on and knows the ins and outs. But you want to bring people in that you comfortable with, that you have went to battle with, people that you feel like you could trust, people that you feel like that's not gonna undermine you. And I'm not saying that Lane Kiffin feels like that about Frank Wilson or Corey Raymond or anybody else in that staff. But what I am saying is Lane wants to do it his way. And before he took that job, when he talked to President Roos, Verge Osbury, Governor Landry, he wanted to make sure before he signed on the dotted line that I was gonna have full autonomy. And
Hmm.
he wants to be able to bring his guys in. And if that means Frank Wilson can't be a part of his plan or Corey Raymond, that's what he wants to be able to do. And we know how valuable Corey Raymond is, right? We know how valuable Frank Wilson is, especially to LSU and the state of Louisiana, right? But obviously there are some underlying issues that we know nothing about, right? You got to remember some things that they went on in the past. Austin Thomas, who was the general manager at LSU, right? Where he was before Ole Miss,
Miss.
right? How did he leave Ole Miss, right? He just left Ole Miss on a drop of a dime, right? And Frank and Austin Thomas is tied to the hip in a sense, right? So, and this is just me speculating, just me navigating and looking through my lens. Lane Kiffin might be looking at it like this: look, y'all tied to the hip. I'm gonna just get rid of both of y'all. and just start this thing all fresh. Frank, I know you're a good coach. I know you're valuable to LSU, but you know the way Austin Thomas left me at Ole Miss, where I wasn't pleased with how he left, and I know that Austin Thomas and Frank are tight. So you know what? I'm gonna just get rid of both of you guys. Like people think like that, and Lane thinks like that, bro. It's like he will do things in a cutthroat manner.
Hmm.
So you just never know what's going on behind the scenes, bro. You never know what's going on behind the scenes. And from what I've been told, if Frank is kept at LSU, it might not be a role that he necessarily wants to do. So I think what you're gonna see is once they get everybody signed for this class, I think that's when you'll see all the dominoes start falling, bro. I think right now, Lane Kiffin got to be very, very careful, especially with the Lamar Brown situation if he decides to let go of Frank. Because if you do that, you just never know how that might deter Lamar somewhere else.
Yep, and this is why Lamar has to wait and make his decision because I mean, like, there's a lot of politicking going on in this instance where hypothetically if he does sign today and then the decision does come out next week that Frank is not retained, now he's sitting here throwing his hands up like, whoa, 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 what the hell, this isn't what I thought. Because I mean, this is a great point. Who did Lamar Brown initially commit with? I mean, yeah, sure, Brian Kelly was the head coach, but the lead recruiter, Mr. Frank Wilson. It doesn't really seem like a no-brainer here. I mean, somebody else told me before the stream, you don't got to reinvent the wheel. And then it just doesn't. If defense is the side of the ball that you're going to have to focus on the most because you're an offensive guy, you brought in all the offensive staff, it just seems like a common sense move to keep some of the pieces. This wasn't even the side of the ball that I had the most question marks about. Like, yeah, do you want to keep everybody? Maybe not. I get that part, but it's just kind of weird fragmenting it already
But
after a
but you
week.
got to look at it from Lane Kiffin's standpoint, right? Kevin Smith, that's his running back coach.
Yep.
So you gonna just tell Kevin Smith, man, I appreciate what you did these last couple of years at Ole Miss, helping me turn this program into one of the best years in program history, and now I'm gonna just rob a Frank Wilson.
No, I can
I'm-
see the offensive staff being customized, especially
you
because he's
know,
got his own scheme. It's just the defensive side. That's where I'm getting confused because if anything, if anybody's going to have a side of the ball that they're going to want Lane Kiffin to be able to at least get a little bit of assistance with, you think it would be that defensive side. Now, maybe he got some up his sleeve. Maybe he got a candidate in mind. He's already getting some conversations rolling. But I
I
will
think
say
I
this.
think we will know from what I'm being told. From what I'm being told, I think we will know where Blake is going to be by either late tonight or early tomorrow morning. I think we're gonna have a clear understanding on what his future gonna look like, whether it's with LSU or if it's with Tulane or Memphis.
Yeah, I'm feeling
Me,
worried, especially when you add that Memphis to the hat now. I didn't know
me,
about the Memphis
me
thing until today.
personally, bro. If I'm Blake, the only way I'm staying with LSU, look, this, forget the money, fuck the money, right? You already getting paid $1 million, right? I can't see LSU giving you more than a $500,000 raise, right? The only way I would want to stay if I'm Blake is if you're gonna allow me to pick who I want on my staff. Cause I'm gonna tell you from past experiences with Lane might try to strong arm me, and say, "Look, I'm picking your D line coach. I'm picking your linebacker coach. No, he coached linebackers. I'm picking your cornerback coach. I'm picking your safeties coach. I'm picking them, and then you gotta make it do what it do. And if that's the case, if I'm Blake Baker, bro, I'm taking a two-lane job.
Yeah, if you think Baker,
And bro, think about this.
he took the job was for full autonomy. That's what I would give somebody else an opportunity to not have full autonomy on their side of the ball.
And think about this. Think about this, bro. They have about I'm estimating right now, but it's a good bit. I think it's about 10 to 13 Ole Miss coaches in the building at LSU right now, and LSU coaches are still in their office. Think about how everybody walking in there on eggshells, bro. They got people passing by each other, not speaking. It's
Yeah.
it's it's a real awkward environment in Baton Rouge right now, bro. And I can tell you the personality that Blake has, he's not feeling that, bro. Blake is a guy, he wants to be fist bumping everybody, making jokes, just having that family atmosphere. And it's not
Put
like that
people
right
on.
now in Baton Rouge, bro. It's a real awkward moment. And it's because of signing day, and it's because of the transfer portal, being able to retain certain players. A lot is going on. And this is why it goes back to what Coach Saban was ranting about. The calendar. The calendar, bro. And this is just it is messing up how things are supposed to go. And this is like a clear example of why they got to change something in this calendar and make it more feasible for when coaches switch jobs and the portal and things of that nature.
Yeah, right. Somebody's in the chat asking, let me guess, is that Lane's fault? No, the calendar ain't Lane's fault. The calendar
Oh,
is college. It's
no,
the NCAA. It's going to be
no.
a athletics administration
Listen,
fault.
you didn't hear me blame Lane Kiffin one time, bro.
Yeah,
Right?
it's
And
that's
listen,
something that has to be voted on.
as a head coach, people not gonna agree with all your decisions. If
Mm,
let's just say he tells Frank Wilson kick rocks. Will I agree with that? No. But I'm not gonna look at Lane Kiffin and say, man, what are you doing? You a bad coach. You're not gonna be successful. Who am I to say that? Because guess what? In 2019, when they won the championship, Frank Wilson wasn't on that staff.
right.
Tommy Robinson was the running back coach. So, and I think on that staff there was only two Louisiana coaches. I think it was Mickey Joseph and Corey Raymond, if I'm not mistaken. Was Corey Raymond on that 2019 staff?
Yeah.
He was.
Let me double check on Google. I'm 99% sure he
I
was.
know
Now you
Mickey
make me second
Joseph.
guess.
I know Mickey Joseph was the receiver coach. So I'm
I
not
think he
blaming.
was because he worked with Sting
Yeah, he was. You're right. You're right.
because that was
He
his first
was.
year.
Yep. He was. He was. So, man, I'm not blaming Lane for nothing. If Lane decides he want to get rid of Corey Raymond and Frank Wilson, do I agree with it? No. But he wants to do things his way.
Yep. No, I agree, 100%. Yeah, he's saying the schedule's an NCAA problem. That's what I'm saying. I feel like it as well. Let's break through some of these recruits, though. Some of the additions, some of the decommitments as well. So the additions, as of I would say 30 minutes ago. Maybe there's going to be some additions as we're
I
live
tell you
streaming.
what.
Right.
I tell you what. I was very surprised that Kerwin Johnson went to Ole Miss and not signed with LSU.
I was about to say that's like a because you got two people that he flipped from Ole Miss, which you expected. J.C. Anderson, the number 11 tight end, and inside offensive line Ryan Murray. But losing Durbin, I know you brought him up on the last screen. Seemed like a damn trade out here. Seemed like they went 2 for 1 for him. I mean,
Yeah,
I know that it's gonna be interesting to watch these Ole Miss and LSU battles. What you think about losing Kenny Darby?
they didn't lose Kenny Darby.
Okay, so it's just a temporary decision,
Yeah, I mean,
similar to Lamar.
it was a mutual parting ways.
Ooh, okay.
Lane Kiffin comes in. He didn't recruit Darby. Watch this film, and they made a decision on. They think it's just best that they just part ways. Same thing with Jalen Chapman at Warren Easton. It was a mutual agreement. We parting ways, and people got to expect that just because you committed to a school, when a new coach comes in, things could change. And
Mhm.
you can't blame Lane Kiffin for that. He doesn't have to take all the commitments.
Nope.
Um, I to me, I thought Kerwin Johnson was going to be a shoo-in. I don't know what happened with that. Uh, I was shocked by that. I really was. I thought that was the he was the sleeper in the class, in my opinion.
You did bring in today Aiden Hall, Jabari Mack, and Big Richard Anderson though. So I mean, give me a little light on those.
Jabbar Mack been covering him since he was a ninth grader at Destrehan High School. Really good player. He could run. Physically ready to play college ball. I think he still needs some work for as the little nuances of playing receiver for as raw running and things like that. But he's very mature. Um, and I think that he's a guy that probably start seeing some playing time probably in year two. I don't anticipate him playing early as a freshman. You talk about Aiden Hall. Aiden Hall is a stud. I thought he got better and better in the car. I don't anticipate him playing as a freshman. I can see him making a huge impact on special teams though, because when he first got to high school in the car, that's how he made his mark. His freshman year, he got scholarship offers just off of special teams because he has a
Damn.
mentality, a mindset. He doesn't mind sacrificing his body. And he looks the part as well, man. His body is physically imposing right now. So Aiden Hall is a stud. I think he has to get better at man to man coverage. But I think he'll get better at that, bro. Especially when he get to college and the nutrition and just it's all about football. I think he'll get better there. Richard Anderson, man, in my mind, when you talk about somebody that's 6'4", you know, carrying that weight and still being able to move like that and chase down screens and be violent, take on double teams and shed blocks. And he's very smart, bro. That's the thing about Richard Anderson people don't know about, bro. He can when they come out in a certain formation, he's calling it out. He's calling out tendencies. He's calling out play calls. He watches film. Richard Anderson, in my mind, I think he gonna play as a true freshman at LSU. I would be very shocked if he doesn't play as a true freshman.
I can see that because I mean it's a Dominic McKinley type situation, a Mob Bro type situation, Mason
Yeah,
Smith. You've seen a lot of them freshman big men get out there, be athletic. It's one of the transitions I feel like that not necessarily is easy to make, but I mean, bro, if you got the size, you got the speed, you got the physicality, the mindset, you can be able to throw them out there.
I see
Somebody,
somebody asking about Braden Allen,
I was about to bring it up.
the receiver from Lafayette Christian. I think he's a good player. And this ain't no disrespect to Braden Allen. I think he's well deserving to play at LSU. I just thought Kerwin Johnson, the receiver from Tioga. I thought he was the guy in that class that they should have made sure they keep. And who am I? I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid $12.5 million a year like Lane Kiffin. So that's the decision he made. But I like Braden Allen. Good player.
Shit, I wish I was getting 12 and a half like Lane Kiffin, dog. Come on, boy. I mean, hey, my Wi-Fi wouldn't be blown out like that. I appreciate it though. We got enough little people in the chat, man.
AT&T,
Y'all
man.
rolling with us.
AT&T.
I need that fiber optic because look, listen, if I don't pick Cox Wi-Fi, stay
Now I
far
see
away from.
somebody see Alexander Taylor says McKinley kind of had kind of a bust if he went to Ohio State. Let him. Yeah, McKinley was another one. Darius McKinley is another one, man.
That's Dom's little brother, right?
Yeah, Daimler brother. When Lane them watched the film and evaluated the whole situation of what's coming back and what they're gonna do in the portal. That was a mutual agreement, and he ended up at Ohio State. So, um, I hope everything works out for him at Ohio State.
Do you think this is? I don't think this would probably be like something to worry about, but it's worth talking about because I know Dominic McKinley has had time in the system, but like little brother ain't on the staff or on the roster. You think he might? Let's go poke around. Let's go see.
Uh, I think it depends what happens with Blake Baker, bro.
That's the
I
domino.
think it
That's the last
depends.
domino. Man, if you would have asked me last week how I feel about Blake, I would have thought he's retained. As we get further and further and we not hearing the decision, I'm getting a little worried. I'm getting a little worried, G.
True story, bro.
Because I know they saying the plan is to keep him. My plan, G, is to have Wi-Fi working every day and be able to do what I got to do. Guess what? Sometimes the plans have to change.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to audible. Sometimes you have to amend them a little bit. I don't
for
know.
sure.
I want to. We're gonna talk about the college football playoff ranks before we jump out of here, and I'm still gonna pay attention to all these chats. But I want to poke your brain on the like Lane Kiffin statement, the players coming out and talking about it. Like, long story short, this is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So Lane comes out and says, "I wanted to coach the team. The team wanted me to coach them. Yada yada yada." He didn't know until Sunday morning, officially, right before the meeting, that he was not going to be Ole Miss's coach in the playoffs. The AD Keith Carter got on a couple of shows today, refuted both reports. He was saying that Lane knew the whole time. It wasn't just a spur of the moment thing. And then this is the big one, dog. Like, I don't want to name no names, but they have a leadership council of a few players, your captains, your big guys. Lane met with them prior to the meeting, per On Three Spirit, the Ole Miss account. Shout out Ben. But they're saying that the players are like, nah, dog, it's good. If you want to go somewhere else, go somewhere else. Like, I don't want to have a coach here that's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So that's an interesting concept because the narrative going into this week was Lane wants to coach Ole Miss in the playoffs. He doesn't want to lead the team, but they pushed him out the door. Now you're kind of getting a different opinion. You're kind of having a couple of people fact check it a little bit. Like, nah, actually, we told him since you're looking around elsewhere, it's good off of that. We don't want you in the playoffs. And apparently, he still made the decision regardless. So I mean, obviously, it goes to show how he viewed Ole Miss's national championships. Like you told me, piss on your back, tell you it's raining. So I mean, like, yeah, I know they don't got no snowball's chance in hell. However, It's just an interesting situation. I don't know. What was your reaction when you heard those reports get refuted? Because mine was, oh shit, there's going to be a lot more to this than meets the eye.
If you haven't been following Lane Kiffin all of his career, bro, he's the ultimate finesser. He's the ultimate finesser, bro. And that's what he do. So that doesn't surprise me when the AD came out and said that what he said publicly wasn't true. I wasn't shocked by that. I mean, anybody that's been following Lane Kiffin, they shouldn't be shocked by that either. So that he's supposed to say that, bro. You think he gonna come on and say the players didn't want me to coach him?
Right.
He's not gonna say that. He gonna say the opposite. So it is what it is. That's Lane Kiffin for you.
And
He's
then, bro,
he's
like you even
he's our whole now.
and then, bro, you even hearing like the dog comments like about Juice and it not being his dog or whatnot. I know Juice, his little Twitter account said he's coming back to Baton Rouge and whatnot, but it's like, look, this is what it kind of reminds me of. And I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, it's disingenuous, but it's like it kind of reminds me of Jeff Landry bringing that tiger on the field, bro. It's like it ain't LSU's tiger, it's from Florida. We're gonna pretend like it's a tiger though. It's like all this little marketing crap is weird. I ain't gonna lie to you. That was one of the first red flags. I feel like obviously the biggest one is gonna be him leaving the team before the playoff run. But come on, man, you can't bring your dog, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Why not the dog, bro? Why
I
the dog catching a stray out
I,
here?
I do want to address something before we get out of here. Um,
Yep.
and I want to say this in the most professional way as possible. I don't want to get out of character. I respect. Let me start off by saying this. I respect everybody that's in media, bro. Whether you put out bad content, good content, mediocre content, it don't matter, bro. If you in this space, I respect you because I know what it takes. I know the time, the sacrifice, the commitment that we have to go through to be able to do stories, to be able to do podcasts, to be able to cover games, edit, a lot going into it. So I respect people that's in this space. But I'm getting sick and fucking tired of some of these motherfuckers in the media that take shots at me when I put out certain things when it comes to stories or breaking news or whatever the hell it may be, right? At the end of the day, if I put something out, bro, it's credible. I'm not gonna put nothing out that ain't concrete. And I'm not, let me knock on wood. I ain't gonna say it ain't gonna ever happen because God might hold me to that and make that and make me have to double back on that one day. But I'm not this guy that's trying to get clickbait. I'm not this guy that needs to make up a story or make up that I know that I have a source when I really don't, just for people to watch what I do or to follow me. I don't. That's not why I do this, bro. I do this because I'm
Yep.
passionate about it. I love sports, right? I've been loving sports since I came out my mama womb, bro. And anybody that knows me know that. So for some of these people that want to take shots at me on social media and sending these little side texts about when I break stories and saying that I'm doing things that's an unwritten rule and things of that nature, bro, y'all have no idea what be going on behind the scenes. And I'm bringing this all back to when I said that Richard Anderson sent this paperwork in today, right? What you don't know is me and Bryce Brown had a conversation at 6 o'clock this morning about Richard Anderson faxing his paperwork off. What you don't know is Bryce Brown told me to post that. What you don't know is me and Richard Anderson has a relationship. That's the things people don't be knowing behind the scenes, bro. And I'm not putting that out there right now to make myself look like I'm some top dog.
Right.
Jacob, you know that, right? I'm humble, bro, right? But I'm just being real. I'm just being real. Everything I put out, bro, is credible, it's concrete, and it's coming from the source or a close source that's connected to that source. I'm never gonna put anything out for clickbait, bro. So all you people in the media that like to throw these shots, right? Have that same energy when you see me in person. And you can ask me what you want to ask me. And I can give
Straight
you
up.
I could give you definitive details on why I do what I do, and maybe you might get a clear understanding on why I'm able to put out certain information and why I know some of the things I know. I ain't gonna give you all my info now. You know what I'm saying? You might go jack
Come
in the
on, can't
box
reveal
on
the
me.
trick.
You might go jack in the box on me. You know what I mean? But just know do your research on me before you start talking shit. Ball
Hundred
games.
percent. And I'm gonna add on to it a little bit too, because to my point, obviously I love sports my whole life as well. I've been around a lot of nice recruits, not nice athletes, but one common denominator, especially from Terrebonne Parish, and all of those athletes, bro, whether it be a Mason Smith, whether it be a Kyron Lacey, a Ja'Kai Douglas, bro, you were an integral part in all their lives. And I took a coaching class a long time ago, and they had made a mention that there's two type of coaches. There's a transactional coach where you come here, you do this, and you out the door. There's a transformational coach where it don't matter if you're scoring 10 points, 2 points, 1.0 points. I'm gonna make sure that you're a better man off the court. I'm gonna uphold you to a standard all levels. As a Nick Saban type of coach. G, I'm giving you the Nick Saban stamp, dog. Because I feel like here's a testament to the work you've done, the character, all this great stuff. Ask the athletes, ask the coaches, straight up. That's it. That's the final bit. Like, don't ask me, don't ask you, don't ask everybody else. Ask them. Ask Richard Anderson or Bryce or whatever the case may be. So I mean, look, that's how you end the situation real quick. Look, I'm not gonna get involved in all this stuff because I'm just gonna
Yeah,
mind our
yeah,
business,
of
lock in on
course.
what we gotta do. It is
Of
what it
course.
is. I feel like it's what's understood don't gotta be explained.
Hey, if they're not hating, I mean you ain't doing something right.
That's a good point. I said that this morning. That's an interesting point. We got 74 people in the chat, man. Everybody tuning in, bro. Whether it
Pre-
be
Appreciate
mobile,
everybody that's
whether it
tuning in,
be
bro. We're gonna try to keep giving
uh,
y'all some concrete content.
yes,
I'm
sir.
being funny right now because
I'm
but
gonna read some of
man,
the comments, man. We got our guy PH. We got our guy Mac Daddy, Coco, Damon. Damon says, "Shout out the cut, the cut." Come on, man. I tried to get it a little lineup this
I'm
morning. The
going to get
Cox
mine. I'm
Wi-Fi
going to get
almost
mine
pissed me
tomorrow,
off,
man. I'm going to get mine tomorrow.
bro. My shit been growing out bad. I had no time, bro. Lane Kiffin sent me in a damn blender. I was over here grinding, grinding, grinding. All right, bro. We about to hop out of here. Well, you want to talk about
Look,
college
look,
football
look,
playoff
look,
rankings, or
look,
you want to
look.
hop out?
BK, look, my boy Byron said I
What?
had to check something behind your name on one of them sites. Boys asking, is he credible? My
Fucking
boy
right.
say fucking right.
Is
That's
he
my boy.
credible?
That's my boy Byron, dog. Yeah, bro. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that.
Is the sky blue?
Yeah,
Is the sky blue?
yeah.
All right, bro. We about to shack out of here Friday. I hope we could be live on the damn laptop, man. Come on, we're gonna try. If we ain't, if we can't, we're gonna have something for you regardless. Appreciate your time, G. Appreciate everybody for calling a little audible, coming into the
Yeah,
mobile.
bro. We had to improvise today.
Man, look, it worked out though. We got 73 in there. Appreciate everybody. Hit that thumbs up before we get out of here. Appreciate your time, G. And y'all enjoy the rest of this damn signing day, man.